I have often observed business owners who constantly ask others, "What do you write off on your taxes?" Or, "What do you do to pay less taxes?" In today's episode, we will discuss the most common reasons why many business owners end up paying more tax than they should.
Welcome to the Business Lessons in Denmark podcast. Our podcast gives the answer to your business-related questions that have not been answered yet or things that haven't even crossed your mind. My name is Sergio Almási, and I'm here with Katalin Balogh, the founder of Cool Accounts APS, the Danish accounting firm. Hi, Kati. I was really waiting for today's episode because I've just started my photography business, but somehow I feel like I'm not making enough money. There are too many taxes I have to pay. Could this be reduced? And if so, how? What's the big secret?
You are not alone with feeling this way. However, there is no big secret. The reason why some business owners pay much more taxes than they should is generally because of some very simple and ordinary reasons. In fact, based on my several years of accounting experience, I've identified 6 common reasons why this happens.
Wow, it sounds interesting. Could you share with me what I need to do to keep more money in my pocket?
Yes. The first reason may seem so trivial that one wouldn't even think of it as a problem. Yet, in practice, many business owners lose money simply by not submitting their invoices to their accountant.
Really?
Yes. I had a client who lost around 10,000 crowns in the first year of our cooperation simply because invoices and receipts went missing. They were left in the work pants, pockets, forgotten in the car, or misplaced after purchase. And if you are listening, my dear client, you know it's about you. Fortunately, we have since gotten things under control, and nowadays invoices and receipts are no longer lost, but it took quite some effort to get there.
You said invoices and receipts. Are you referring to, for example, when I buy an expensive camera and keep the invoice for it?
Yes, but it's not just about expensive items, but practically any receipt that you get when you buy something for your company. Photo paper, printer ink, or if you advertise your services on Facebook. I could list more examples. Every little bit adds up. In the case that I mentioned, the person had a blind spot about it. He did this job well, and while a receipt or two might have been lost, he didn't pay attention to it. The change came when I specifically calculated the actual amount lost due to missing receipts and invoices in that year. And I don't remember the exact figure, but I recall that it was above 10,000 crowns. Yes. So from then on, all I had to do was to remind him about this. And after that, things got into order.
10,000 crowns, a lot of money. Yeah, being a business owner requires attention to detail. For instance, my grandfather always kept receipts under his head to keep them safe. Of course, at the time, he only had to give the receipts to my grandmother.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good solution. Interestingly, this client of mine only needed to change his routine. By paying a little more attention to material purchases and organizing everything systematically, not a single invoice has been lost for years. So we can now deduct all expenses since we have the records.
That sounds great. But let's move on. What's the next reason why business owners pay more taxes than they should?
The second reason is somewhat similar to the first one, but still falls into a separate category. Here, it's about having the invoice in the owner's private name instead of the company name. The condition for cost deduction and VAT deduction is that the invoice is in the company's name. And we have discussed this in a previous episode.
Yes. Episode number 25 was about the requirements for an invoice.
Yes, exactly. The point is that the customer's name must be on the invoice. And if you are buying something for your company, then obviously your company should be the customer. So it's not for you as an individual.
Yeah, exactly. So as you said, it's important to always request invoices in the company's name to write off purchases as expenses.
Yes, exactly. My experience shows that this is often an issue with online purchases. When someone orders something for their company online, perhaps from a site where they also order as an individual, like Amazon, for example, they may not realize they need to open a separate company user account to make purchases for their company.
Mm-hmm. Good to know. I definitely keep that in mind. But now, what would be the third reason why business owners pay more taxes than they should?
The third reason tends to result in even greater losses than the first two. Many people use their private car for business purposes, such as cleaners, gardeners, or salespeople.
Yes. As a photographer myself, I often use my own car when traveling to locations.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there are obviously expenses associated with using your car for business, fuel, repair costs, and so on. Since some of these expenses are incurred for the benefit of the company, tax rules allow for deductions. However, there is a basic condition to deducting the use of your car from your tax base. You need to maintain a mileage record or a kilometer log.
Yeah, okay. And why wouldn't someone do that?
Well, for various reasons. Some find it tedious or time-consuming, forget to log their trips, or simply find it complicated. However, missing out on it can result significant losses, with some business owners paying tens of thousands of crowns more in taxes than they should, because they neglect to maintain a mileage record. Particularly those who travel thousands of kilometers per month for work, they suffer the most.
Well, I understand that it takes time to write up every trip in a notebook or Excel, but it might still be worth it given the potential savings.
Yeah.
Aren't there apps for that?
Oh, yes, there are. Absolutely. Nowadays, there are very good apps specifically designed for this purpose, making it much simpler. Just a few clicks and you have a kilometer log.
So in this case, I really don't understand why some business owners let me money slip away. But if I offer my app to these clients and then we split the tax savings, if I have them save, for example, 20,000 crowns in taxes, would they give me half 15,000 crowns?
Well, I'm not sure how these clients would feel about when you call 15,000 crowns for half of it. But
You know, I'm a businessman. They'd still be better off than they are now.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. Well, another thing I would like to add to this point is that even those business owners who don't use their own car for travel, but rely on public transportation, they also have the opportunity for tax deductions. This specific tax deduction works a bit differently than the other one I mentioned before. But for those who travel a lot of kilometers, it's definitely worth taking it.
Okay, I see. Well, Kati, we promised to cover 6 reasons, but our time is almost up and we have just discussed 3. Shall we save the remaining points for the next episode?
Yeah, let's do that. But there is also something else, our new segment.
Yeah, you mean the questions from our listeners?
Yes, we received a question from one of our listeners, from Gina Andres. Gina has employees and recently received a letter from the Arbeidstillsynet, the Danish Work, Health and Safety Inspectorate, informing her of certain obligations as an employer regarding work health and safety. And Gina asked us to shed some light on this topic.
This is a very good question from Gina. As I know, many business owners have employees and work health and safety are very important.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait until next week episode to answer this.
Yeah. Well, Reggio, in films and series, this is what's called a cliffhanger. We have managed to finish this episode with 2 cliffhangers now.
Yeah, you're right. And we are going to find out if they work.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Today's episode was sponsored by Cool Accounts APS. If you want to take your business to the next level, then contact us through our website www.accounts.cool. And for up-to-date and useful information, follow our Facebook page. We wish you a successful week.